Okay, I think now that I have these windows working to here, up and down, everything's good. I know they both work. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put some switches in here. Basically want to get it in there so I can control the windows up and down when the car's got the battery turned on, whatever. When I'm sitting in and using it, just because that's the way they're supposed to work, I guess, right? Could roll with this for a little while, but I want to start buttoning up wires. We're about to close these doors in, so we need to make sure everything works to the switch so that we don't gotta bust things back out. So let me grab all that. I believe it's in this bin here or one of these bags. I don't know. It's in one of these two. So I'll get that out, start hooking that up, and we'll just go from there. Okay, so basically I have to find the window regulator safety relay. It shows to be on my firewall on the inside, under the hood, close to the heater blower. But pretty sure I did not have any relays here. So I think at some point these got brought inside. But I will look again. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not there. Thinking that's loose, and that is why I'm still not. I should. Applying power to those plugs should be able to get them to go up and down without the regulator. The regulator just applies power, right? It's coming from the fuse box. So I have to check that fuse, and I need to locate it. So that I do not know where it is. So that'll be fun. It's like a red with a blue stripe and a red wire and a white wire going to it. Shouldn't be too hard to find. So there is a relay under here. I don't know how I missed that all these years. But I unplugged those. I guess I'm gonna clean those terminals up and see if I can figure out a way to test that. I think if I apply power to it through the ground, it should click or something. I'm assuming. But maybe one of those things I gotta take off button up. I don't know. We'll see. Well, before I go messing with that, I think I'm gonna put these ground wires on because I know I have a couple of white ground wires under here that are not connected. Alright, that one right there. I guess what I'm gonna do is hook this ground up, see if I can get either window to work, and just keep going from there. So I need to find a home for this ground. You can see it does come off the wiring harness that goes to the door. So that is it. There you go. Yeah, they had these just black wire electrical tape on these connections and just hanging like this before, which is better than what I'm doing right now. But yeah, we're gonna try to fasten these somewhere. I guess I probably should probably address that now, and while I'm doing it I can find a home for that ground wire. Okay, so those two breakers are set and good. This one is supposed to go up in that box like that, so they are no longer hanging, dangling. Hopefully this kick plate sits on top of them. Got concerns about that. Joys of car building. Should have done this before I put the dash in. Basically, well, I don't know. Anyway, it's never easy. Let's put it that way. That's my wires to my another ground wire, which I can probably connect to there. And this is the courtesy light. Yeah, so anyway, I just want to show you this. There, I got the white ground on top of that for now. If this is in the way, I'll leave the ground there and move this, and I use self-tappers here and there. I'm going to actually, before I start tearing into things and diagnosing things, I'm going to get my switch console, plug it all up, plug the battery in, and who knows, these windows may just work. Like before we go through a lot of troubleshooting, I think the first thing to do is try it, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. You know, I'm not saying this is gonna work or not, but this switch assembly looks brand new. Like, look at that. I haven't even checked this out before, but that looks like an aftermarket. Yeah, it's good news. Well, maybe. I mean, sometimes the new stuff doesn't work as good as the old stuff, but that does look like a brand new switch to me. So we're about to try this thing out. And obviously, they tried this first and never checked out their shitty ass motor, which that was definitely the problem with this side. And I want to say this side was not working either. I can't really remember. But they were all in bad shape. But that one was full of water. So, like, yeah, it was not going to work. But let me hook this up, hook the battery up, and we're going to see if this thing works. Okay, well, that was a dud. Did not do anything. Golly, I was really hoping it would just work, but that would be too easy. Well, I thought I had a quick fix. Thought, yeah, look, I forgot to do these ground wires. Maybe that's all it is, and that was not all it is, apparently. But I am going to go ahead and fasten these down. Okay, I have found the ground over here. I tested it, went ahead and hooked up the courtesy light ground, the same place. Plugged up the courtesy light under there. There's one more wire under there I don't have a home for. I need to figure out where it goes. Still have not figured out why my gauges aren't working. The three that go through the voltage regulator. Assuming it's the voltage regulator. So, yeah, I've got figure out. I know the red and this red with blue stripe have something to do with the switches. And they both go through different breakers. So I need to check the continuity of those, but I'm thinking there's a lot of stuff hooked up there, and I'm thinking other stuff would not be working if those were bad. Okay, so I use my little continuity tester. If you're wondering on these, you just set it on that. You touch two things, anything that should be a complete circuit. And it'll work. You hear that? And it'll beep. So if it doesn't beep, then it's not the breaker's bad or the fuse is bad or whatever or the wire or whatever you're testing is bad. So I checked that one, checked that one, checked that one up there, checked every one of these fuses. I'd also visually inspected all of them, but I went ahead and did a continuity test on them in the fuse box. And you know what? I'm gonna go back. I was touching the ends of the fuses. I'm gonna go back and touch the actual post, because it could be bad connections to the post. So let me check that real quick. Okay, so this is what I'm left with, the relay. So I'm gonna do what I did before, because I mean I don't have one. I'm gonna pull it apart. I am gonna check it, but what I did basically before I took it out was I took wires from the battery, hot and cold, and try to just kind of that hurt. Put power straight to it, and you know, touched every combination of posts just in case I had something wrong or they had something in the wrong spot. You know, trying on one of them is the ground. The black was here. These two were both red. I would have thought this would have been the ground, but maybe not. But I tried it both ways. So, yeah. So anyway, it no clicky, or not that I can hear, but I got it out. And I'll do it again. I'm gonna put some power to it directly with the power supply, and see if I can get it to click. I'm thinking though, you know, we know the driver's side window definitely wasn't working. The motor was shot. Pretty sure these other windows weren't working. At some point they had bought a new switch, probably thinking it's the switches, and it wasn't, I'm assuming. And it may have been when they said, you know, screw it, we're selling this thing. So I'm not going to be surprised if this is shot. So and I have seen other people, this is kind of the first thing they go to. I probably should have gone to this first, but I wanted to check. One thing I knew I needed to get my grounds right. They weren't grounded. Needed to check fuses and breakers, and none of that was the problem. Doesn't seem to be. So yeah, anyway, gotta take this apart, look inside of it, see what's going on.
Let's go.
All right, it does not work. Yeah, checked it. Doesn't draw down the magnet or the contact, and cannot, even when I hold the magnet down, cannot get power to pass through it. So it's got a bad connection in here somewhere. So I'm gonna order a new one, don't worry. But I'm going to do what worked for me last time and soak this thing in vinegar and see if that gets it going again. And if so, we'll put it back together and slap it in the car and see if that's our problem. Okay, y'all, so many issues this morning, as usual. And I'm almost leaning towards pulling the dash out. First of all, I was doing this relay wrong yesterday. You know, these modern relays like this, they come with 4 posts. One of them is the ground. This one, and I was looking at my old brake light relay, it actually had a ground wire on it. But this one, this back here is the ground. Okay, so this may have been working yesterday, maybe, before I put it in vinegar, but it definitely works now. I'm learning about these, you know, getting a little more familiar with them. So this is your switch leg right there. You see, when power's applied to the switch, it closes that electromagnet. So this does work. Problem I was seeing, which could be just a bad contact, or anyway, I wasn't getting 12 volts through this. I was getting about 4 or 5. And again, that could just be the way I have it kind of not clipped real well, and it is still kind of dirty and everything, but that could be a problem. That is a problem. We know how to fix that. I've got a new one coming, or I can use this one. That's possible. Another thing that I find weird is, I believe this one had just the red wire on it. Get a light. Yeah, so this one was, my engine's kind of hot. I just went for a drive. They're both dirty, but I think the red and blue, so this red one is what was on that side that makes it complete the circuit. So that is coming from the switch, and then the black wire, so the red one and blue one here is the constant power, and then the black wire goes back to the switches. I don't know if you can see down in here. I just found it. There you go. That 3-pin wire is what's coming from inside. And as you can see, it is missing a post, which I believe would be the black. I believe this could be the black, but regardless, it's missing a leg. And so yeah, I am about to have to probably cut wires and fish them back out. And another thing, this just was not plugged up, and I don't know exactly where it gets plugged to. And there's my heater wires from the inside, just 2 wires. Now that connection is good, but I don't really see where it plugs up either. One big thing is there was no the relay from outside the car was not plugged to anything, and the plug is shot, so I got to repair that. Basically is where I'm going with that. And I might have to repair the relay. I might have to hook up this new one, which I really understand now. You know, you just ground, I believe it's 85 is the ground. I'll look at it again. It's either 85 or 30. I believe it's 85. And then, you know, one is constant power, one is from your switch, and one is to the motors, basically. Power to the motors whenever the circuit is complete. Well, it's a little dark in here if you noticed. We just lost power. Don't know why. Area outage. Kind of sucks. I can still work out here. It's just gonna be hotter than hell without fans going, for sure. But anyway, let me get back started. I am about to dig into this wire here, see what's going on with it, and yeah, fix this plug and try to find where it's plugged in on the inside of the car. So, because that one's probably messed up too. Just to show y'all, because this has helped me to draw this out instead of trying to remember which one went where and what and why. And anyway, so you can see on this terminal, on this relay, it's got little numbers there. These are all the same, apparently 4-pin, the ones that are 4-pin. There is a 5-pin variety, but so you got 85, 30, 86, and 87, and they all do the same thing. So 85 is your ground, which in this case, that's just a black wire coming off of here. It's no big deal. I'll show you my jumper I've made, and yes, I know these aren't heat shrinked yet. These actually shrink, and then I will slide the heat shrink over them and shrink it again. But I don't have power in my house, so my heat gun does not work. So I'm gonna get all this hooked up, get it working, and then I will go about shrinking wires and making sure everything is good. So 85 is easy. Ground, see I got a little eyelet on there. We're gonna screw that to the body of the car where we mount this thing, no problem. And you know, and actually, anyway, we'll figure it out, but doesn't necessarily have to go back through the firewall. Yeah, so I'll see where it plugs up in the car, and if there is an easy place to mount it inside the car, that's probably what we're gonna do, instead of trying to fight these wires back. It was tight pulling this out of there. Anyway, back to the story. So on the other side, to create your circuit, you got the switch is always going to be 86. So that's to or from the switch, right? So on my harness, it is a white wire, and this is what I'm doing. Top color is the harness, the bottom color is what is actually in the car. So it's white here, and the red one goes from the switch, right? So yeah, that's right, because when I touched that side of the terminal, which is where the red wire was, that closed my little electromagnet. So then this one I got to write. So on the other one, 30, so this is your constant power. It's blue on my terminal and red and blue inside the car, red with the blue stripe. And that is your constant power coming from your fuse box or your battery. And then 87, which I got red there, but that is this leg here on the wiring harness, but it's black with the white stripe. Excuse my handwriting, it's terrible. Yeah, so that's it. That's how you would lay this out. That's how it's going to be laid out. And actually, I can, like I said, I can do this in the car. I've got to figure out where this the end of this plugged into, and then I can just plug it in right there. Yeah, I will heat shrink all this, get all that ready, but this is the route we're going. We are using a modern relay for this. Remembering and figuring stuff out, but there is my connection. And you say, but Bucky, it's brown, white, and yellow. That is because I did see that 3-pin connection was bad and had a broke pin in it. So I'll have to shine a light down in there and probably draw me a picture also so I can remember and not have to keep referring to it. But I will have to make 2 male bullet connectors and 1 female. I'm not gonna, I may have this, the other end of this plug. I will see. And then I'll just have to correspond. I can see the red and blue, and I believe the white one is to the black. I'm gonna definitely wire it up right here and just run the ground probably straight to the battery, just to make sure that it is grounded good. And yeah, just run it from in here. That is my plan anyway, for now. And then I'll make a decision later if I want to run it through the car or not. But let me look around and see if I have that other end of that plug. It would make sense to keep it, but doesn't mean that I did. I'm very confident, so I went ahead and heat shrunk everything, and you know, like this is gonna work 100%. So just to show you, I could have just run whatever color wires, but I kept the original colors, at least in part of it. That way if somebody's coming behind me in the future, I mean, this connector had white, yellow, brown ends. This one had red, white, blue ends and black. So just to have some, you know, for me maybe in the future too, going back and looking, trying to figure out what's going on. I left as long a piece of the original wire in there as I could. This is actually, the whole thing is probably longer than the original. I didn't think about this. I guess I have pretty much determined that I'm doing this in the car no matter what, because yeah, I'd have to cut that end back off to stick it through the firewall. I'm not going to do that. So we are hooking this up somewhere, probably mount it under the dash somewhere. They may have had this outside because it makes a clicking noise maybe. I don't know. But yeah, we're just going to have a clicking noise inside the car. So I'm going to plug this up back to that guy right there. I'm going to, for now, just run a alligator clip wire back to the battery terminal ground and see if his windows work. Okay, so I plug this side up, hit my switch, and I actually have the right plug plugged up on this side. Window works. Dude, that is fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. So now all I gotta do is figure out a place to put that relay. Then, more electrical problems. I got to figure out what's going on with my gauge cluster. So they're all dead. And they did work at one time. So, assuming it's the voltage regulator, but we will track that down. Yep, I'm super excited. Windows work. Well, sorta. They, got power to them anyway. Got all my electrical issues worked out. And just got some mechanical issues with this one. So, but I don't have the part to fix it yet. So, I'm gonna continue on. Well, like I said, gauge cluster next. I'm gonna figure that out. Then I'm gonna continue on putting shit on the doors. I think I'll do weather stripping next. This piece here, and yeah, I think weather stripping. Got the mirrors on. I got to reattach the little control for the mirror on this one, and yeah, I think after that there will be door panels. Ooh, that's a big step. That is a big step. All right, let me get back to work here.